My world shattered in the silence of a single night. It splintered into 1,000 jagged pieces that would never, ever fit back together. My name is Amanda, and this is the confession of a ghost who still breathes. My husband was away, his absence a physical chill in our beautiful, empty home. The walls seemed to whisper of loneliness, a haunting tune I could not escape. Then, his brother arrived. David. With a smile that echoed my husband's, but with a fire in his eyes that was entirely, dangerously his own. I made the mistake, the kind that scorches your soul and brands your conscience forever. My hands tremble now, recounting this to you. They tremble with the memory of a guilt so profound it lives in my bones. Everyone believes they know the boundaries of their own morality until they are tested. You think you're strong. You think you're good. I thought I was both. I lived in a portrait of perfection, a graceful house on a quiet, tree-lined street. It was a postcard of contentment, a beautiful lie. My husband, Mark, was a good man, a noble and decent man whose love was steady as a heartbeat and just as often taken for granted. His work sent him across oceans, leaving me alone in our cathedral of silence. At first, the solitude was a luxury. Then it became a sentence. The emptiness grew teeth, and it began to bite. I remember the creeping cold of that season, the way the wind howled like a lonely creature against the windows. Mark's voice, tender yet distant, told me of a trip that would stretch for an eternity. 3 weeks. He promised sunshine and vacations upon his return, but I only felt the deepening frost of my isolation. I kissed him goodbye at the airport, a phantom smile on my lips. I watched him disappear into the crowd, and I drove back to a house that felt less like a home and more like a beautifully furnished tomb. The clock ticked. Each second a loud, mocking judgment in the stifling quiet. Then, the phone rang. It was David. His voice was not an echo of Mark's. It was a lightning strike. Vibrant, crackling, alive. He asked for shelter, just for a few nights. And I, drowning in the quiet, threw him a lifeline. I said yes. He arrived like a summer storm, dispelling the chill with his laughter, his chaotic energy, his presence. The house woke up from its deep freeze. We cooked. We shared a bottle of wine that tasted like forbidden fruit. He made me laugh, a sound so foreign to my own ears it startled me. "You have a beautiful laugh, Amanda," he said, his blue eyes holding mine. And in that glance, I felt a terrifying, thrilling crack in my foundation. The next night, we sat close on the sofa, a movie flickering shadows across our faces. When it ended, the silence returned. But this silence was different. It was thick, charged, screaming with possibility. I knew I should rise. I knew I should walk away. I knew I should lock my door and call my husband and remember who I was. But loneliness is a ruthless manipulator. It had hollowed me out, and in that hollow space, a terrible need took root. He touched my hand. His skin was warm. "You are so special," he whispered, and the words were a poison I drank willingly. That touch was the point of no return. I have relived that moment 10,000 times. If I could tear it from the fabric of time, I would. But I cannot. I stayed, and we fell. The details are not important. They are ashes in my mouth. It was a collision of weakness and want, a single catastrophic night. Dawn came, cruel and bright. The sunlight exposed everything. I looked at him, and I saw the ruin I had created. My heart did not beat. It hammered against my ribs, a frantic prisoner trying to escape. "You have to leave," I choked out, my voice raw with self-loathing. He left, taking the storm with him, leaving only the devastating wreckage behind. I scrubbed the house until my hands were raw. I wanted to scour the memory from the very air. When Mark called, his voice was a dagger of kindness straight through my soul. I lied. With every word, I lied. The guilt was a creature living inside me, eating me from within. Mark returned home to a wife who was a ghost wearing her skin. I kissed him and tasted my own betrayal. I smiled at him with a face that felt like a mask of clay. Then, a new horror began to grow, a sickness, a deep, unshakable fatigue. I knew, even before the test, I knew. I stood in the bathroom, a plastic stick in my hand, as the world dissolved around me. 2 lines. A life born from a lie. I counted the days with trembling fingers, and the truth descended, cold and final. This child was not my husband's. The baby belonged to David. A scream built in my throat, a silent tsunami of pure terror. What had I done? My perfect hidden sin now had a heartbeat. It would have a face. It would have a voice. Mark found me weeping, and in his eyes I saw only joyful concern. He held flowers, a promotion, dreams of a family. "We can have a baby now," he beamed, his love a blinding, unbearable light. The secret, the vile, rotting secret, tore its way out of me. "I am pregnant," I sobbed. His face, illuminated with pure, radiant joy. And I had to extinguish it. "The baby is not yours." The silence that followed was the loudest sound I have ever heard. It swallowed his smile, his light, his very soul. "How?" he asked, the word a shattered piece of glass. And I gave him the truth. I spoke his brother's name. David. The transformation before me was monstrous. I watched the man I loved disintegrate and reform into a stranger made of pure, shattered pain. "You and my brother," he breathed, the words tasting of poison. "In my house." His rage was a physical force. It shattered a vase, it shattered our past, it shattered every future we had ever dreamed. "Get out," he roared, a sound born of ultimate betrayal. I ran. Into the rain, into the darkness, into a life I no longer recognized. The divorce papers were a mere formality. I had already destroyed our marriage with my own hands. David, when I told him, vanished into the ether, a phantom leaving me alone with his consequence. I was adrift, utterly and completely alone. Until she came. My daughter, Hope. I named her for the only thing I had left to cling to. She has his eyes, those devastating blue eyes that belonged to both the man I loved and the man I betrayed. Every day I see them. Every day I remember. My life now is built in the rubble of my old one, a small apartment that echoes with her laughter and my regrets. I see Mark sometimes, in glimpses on a screen, moving on, finding a happiness he always deserved. The pain is acute, but it is my penance. I wear it. I hold my daughter, this beautiful, innocent result of my catastrophic failing. I love her with a ferocity that frightens me. She is my redemption and my constant reminder. So I beg you, listen to the trembling voice of a woman who learned too late. Loneliness is a profound and terrible ache. But do not let it convince you to burn down your entire life for a moment of counterfeit warmth. Cheating is not a single act. It is an earthquake. The tremor is the kiss, the affair, the secret. But the aftershocks? They are the lies that follow, the shattered trust, the innocent lives forever altered in the fallout. They are a child who asks for a father you cannot name. You believe you can contain the damage. You believe you can hide the truth in the dark. But truth is a living thing. It claws its way into the light, always. And it drags your entire world with it. I walk a different path now. It is steep and rocky, and my feet are bruised from the journey. But the air is clean. I have nothing left to hide. The mirror shows me a woman etched with grief, but it shows me a real woman. I am not the villain of my story, nor am I its hero. I am a survivor of my own downfall. I am a mother building something good from the ruins of something broken. So take my hand across this distance and feel the scars. Let my pain be your caution. Let my tears be your shelter from the storm. Protect what you have. Cherish it. And if the loneliness comes, speak it. Shout it into the phone to the person who vowed to share your life. Do not ever let it fester in the dark until it convinces you to destroy the very thing you crave. My name is Amanda. This is my truth, carved from my soul and offered to you. There is no happy ending here, but there is hope. A fragile, beautiful, fighting hope. She is sleeping in the next room, and I will spend every remaining breath of my life being worthy of her name. Goodbye.